All right, well, thanks everyone for being here. Obviously, there's a lot of love in the room for David Estes, and we especially want to thank everyone who traveled. Everyone who traveled for long distances, some even over the pond, to be here. So thank you very much for that. That means a lot. So what we're going to be doing here is we're just going to do a little bit of storytelling. As you know, we're here to have a celebration of life for my father. So there may be a few tears here and there, but we're going to try to keep things upbeat and lifting, if we will. And so the folks that are going to be telling some stories are obviously very close with Dad, and I know a lot of us were. So we just have a few things to say. But if you know my dad, you know that he liked undivided attention when it came to telling a story or watching the game or really about doing anything, which was tough to pull off, but he tried. So that being said, as we tell the stories, we ask for you guys to have your undivided attention, and we also want to make sure Dad can hear. So with that being said, Mama, go ahead, and everyone listen for your name if you're next on the storytelling.
Thank you.
Guys, I tell you, we just had an amazing week, and I really want to share it with everybody. I'd love to do it personally, but it's truly so amazing that I'm thinking about writing it all down, because God was with us, the angels were surrounding us, there are things that happened that you just got to write it down. It's amazing. So I will be sharing that with a lot of you guys at some point. But I'm going to start out with...
Speak a little closer.
So you guys, I've never done this before. I'm not used to this. Yeah. I can tap dance. Almost 50 years ago, right after graduating from high school, on Labor Day weekend, I decided to go with 3 of my girlfriends to dance on the pier in Jacksonville Beach. Apparently, the stars were perfectly aligned as David and 3 of his friends arrived at exactly the same moment as we did. The 8 of us merged together as we walked towards the pier. We introduced ourselves, and we actually used our real names. This is very important. Remember this. We had a few laughs with the guys, and then we went our separate ways. Now, David loves to tell the story that Hugh recalls that he and the guys were invited to stay in a hotel while we girls spent the night in a car on the beach. And that is true. A few weeks later, and back home in Neptune Beach, the stars once again performed their magic. Now this part is kind of long, so I'm going to skip through all those details just to keep it short, because Chad, reminiscent of his father, told me I only had 2 minutes. So, am I too
I'll get an extension. I relinquish my time to Claudia.
Anyway, a few weeks later, back home in Neptune Beach, the stars once again performed their magic. Now, this is where I apologize for you. Anyway, and David had to hunt me down, and amazingly found me in the beach's phone book filled with Browns. So we went on our first date. Actually, it was a double date with Jimmy Hutchison and my best friend, Ann Mills. They took us to what David and his crew called Hill 13, way high in the sand dunes in Atlantic Beach. Now this is the part that won me over, except for the course that he was drop dead gorgeous. This 18-year-old hunk of a burning love was the most totally prepared date I'd ever been on. Now, I'm only 18 years old. So see, I was just a silly little old beach girl, and we were used to sitting on the sand watching the guys pick their guitars while slugging down a beer. Hey, I never even got a Coke. I was totally unprepared for someone that would actually think things through. Someone that cared enough to think of others. He was a real man with a plan. That was David Estes. Did I leave something on So, he was Mr. Planner extraordinaire. Y'all, he was maxed out with food, drinks, blankets, firewood, of course, lighter fluid. Heck, knowing him, he probably had a fire extinguisher in his back. Bug spray. And of course, obviously, the best music of the day. So that was it for me, kids. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. Looking back now, the almost 54 years just flew by with David always prepared, always thinking ahead, always thinking of others, always saving the day, and always loving me, loving his family, and all his friends. There will never be another like him. I was a very lucky girl. As a tribute to our 50th anniversary a couple of years ago, I entered a Reader's Digest 100-word true story, and here it is. I call it What's in a Name. What are the am I good? What are the chances? What are the chances at 10 I would see a movie called Claudia and David and vow to marry David? What are the chances I would find my David? Then he would have to search for me in a phone book bulging with browns. What are the chances he'd find me because my father's first name was Asa? What are the chances 50 years ago we'd be married by Reverend Mackey, fly on Mackey Airlines, and our cab driver's name, Samuel Mackey? What are the chances I discover many years later in the Claudia and David book, Claudia's name was actually Claudia Brown?